Yeah, welcome back. I'm back for another session in blade cleaning. I had a previous session where I cleaned 6 blades, and I went out there and I used WD-40 and a little bit of scrubbing to get them cleaned up. It did a pretty good job, but of course out there searching on the internet, I ran across the fact that a lot of people say that just normal laundry detergent will actually do a very good job too. So I was kind of curious. So I ran across another blade that I have that's in pretty bad shape actually. I'm not sure what happened to it here. Had quite a buildup or some rust in this one section here. And you can see there's quite a bit of pitch built up on it. And just overall it's a pretty dirty looking blade here on the back side. You can even see there was some foreign material that I must have cut through. I'm thinking maybe some tar paper or something. Just really don't know what I would have did with this blade years ago. So I think I'd go ahead and give this a try and use detergent to see if it really does clean up the pitch on this particular blade. So what I have here in front of me is just an old container used for draining oil out of your car. We don't use it here though. It's pretty clean. It's in good condition. So I've just went ahead and filled it up with some warm water. I'm going to add I guess about a cup size of laundry detergent to this, just so that we have a nice something to work with here, a nice mixture. I'm not sure what the real mixture would be. This may be a little bit too much or cut too much, but we'll see what happens here. So I'll just go ahead and stir that up really nice. Get us some nice soap here to work with. And we'll go ahead and clean this blade and see what happens. See if it does do what everybody on the internet is saying it does do. It cleans up pretty well. So let's go ahead and put the blade in. We'll do a little bit of scrubbing here on it. It does submerge here nicely in this container. Got a nice little soft bristle brush that I'll use just to kind of go over this blade and see what kind of results we get out of this. It may need to soak for a little bit, but at the same time I'm going to go ahead and kind of just start scrubbing away here a little bit. You can actually tell that it is already removing a little bit of that pitch. I mean, just getting started there. So this may be a good alternative to working with the WD-40 right off the bat and just using a little bit of detergent instead. It does appear to be cleaning these up. I'm going to try to spend more time on my blades now. I just tend to neglect my blades, probably like everybody else out there, so I'm going to really try to do a better job with maintaining my blades for my shop. So I can tell that really is cutting the pitch off. We work on this section here that I'm not sure what it is, this nice rusted up section. Possibly with some kind of a glue or something. I'll go ahead and work around this blade. It really is taking off the pitch. Quite impressed here. It also smells pretty good at the same time. Let's go ahead and clean this up. Pretty well go all the way around this blade, and it really truly is taking off that pitch very nicely. So let's see on the front side that it's not 100% just yet. I think a little bit more scrubbing, maybe just a little bit of soaking, be able to get a lot of this off of there. Go ahead and switch over to the back side. You can still see we have quite a buildup of the pitch there. But I'll go ahead and scrub that now as well for the back side. And it truly is taking it off just as simple with just a simple scrubbing action there. It's removing the pitch. I'm going to go ahead and work all the way around this blade. This one section here that's pretty caked up. I will see if it's going to take that off as well. Going to work around this blade. I believe this blade was 104 teeth. So we'll work around this thing. This nice soapy water is really cleaning up a lot better than I expected, really. So it has my vote. I would definitely use that first. Maybe go with the detergent first to clean your blades up the best you can. You of course are working soap and water here, so after you get these cleaned with soap and water, you will want to thoroughly dry them, possibly spray them with a rust inhibitor, or even at that time maybe go to the WD-40 to spray a little bit. That'll conclude today. I'll go ahead and get this blade cleaned up. Okay, just about 4 or 5 minutes of scrubbing there with the brush. The pitch is all gone off of the blade. The front and back, 95% of the pitch is no longer there. I still have this one spot here that I need to work with. It appears to me I'm going to have to probably use a little bit of steel wool on this spot to get it cleaned up properly. A little bit up here. On this back side, a lot of that gunk started to come off, whatever that was, tar or whatever. I think I have just enough buildup there. I'm going to go ahead and do a little scraping here just to knock off a little bit of this heavier stuff. If we can get most of that knocked off, then I can go back and scrub it with the soap and water again. Yeah, I think that's going to really start to knock that off there. This blade, looking at the blade, I had several blades that I thought it was just time to kind of get rid of them. I was debating whether I wanted to send them out to get them sharpened. I'm not sure what kind of cleanup they would have did, if you do send them out to a professional, but I didn't really want to go down that path, so that's why I've decided here to go ahead and see what I can do for these blades, and I think I'm going to be able to salvage these blades and continue to use them in my shop and feel confident that they're nice, clean, ready to be used, get them sharpened on them, and I think we'll be in much better shape. That really is knocking off most of this here. Just a little bit more here and I'll have this completed. That was some pretty tough stuff there. Really can't tell you what that was. My guess was it was some kind of tar, going through tar paper. I just don't really recall. Submerging that back in the water, giving it a nice solid platform there, and now you can see we've got rid of all of that gunk off the blade, so that'll be much better. These spots here, it's more of a rust or something that's built up over time, so I think I will switch over to the steel wool and see if I can't get those areas. Okay, we're back. I'm still working on this blade. I do have most of the pitch off of it. Got a lot of cleanup. I've started to tackle this area here with a little bit of steel wool. See if I can't get that rust off of there. It's taking some of it off. Probably not going to get all of it right away. So I think I'll kind of switch over to a little bit of sandpaper as well. See if we can't get a little more off there with the sandpaper. That does seem to be breaking it up a little bit better. So I think I'll go ahead and work on this a little bit with this sandpaper. You can tell it is really starting to take that rust off of there. Really have no idea how that happened, but in a shop this blade must have ended up being somewhere it shouldn't have been, left laying somewhere, and got some moisture on it, and then just started to build up that rusty area. It looks like it is going to clean up for me. It'll just take a little bit of time to get all of that cleaned up off of there so that we can get a nice clean cut in the future with this blade. Get this blade added back into my collection of blades. I had 6 blades that I was working on here, and then happened to run across this one as well. So that pretty well finish out my set of blades, and if I can keep them cleaned up and working, I shouldn't have to be buying blades again. You can tell that's continuing to take off the little bit at a time, continuing to take off that rust. So we just give it a little more pressure here. See if we can't get some downward pressure on this and knock this rust out of here. And it's continuing to take some off. Looks like the spots I am getting down to the actual metal here. So I think I'll just continue to work on this until that's gone. For this as well, once we get this cleaned up and get some WD-40 on it and also get it back in the saw and run it, may get lucky and help clean up some of that as well, running it through a few cuts. Trying to really stay away from the tip of the blades there, or tip of the teeth, so we don't want to mess those up any, but get the majority of this rust off of this blade, bring this blade back to life. Alright, that's getting it down pretty smooth. I guess it's always going to have scars there from the past, but I'll continue to work on this. Maybe a little bit of WD-40 after this will also help to break up some of this rust area. I will let that one soak a little bit more. Come over here and catch this minor spot. Go ahead and get it cleaned up. Alright, that kind of smoothed it out pretty good. And just a little spot here on the back as well. Get back here and clean this one up. Maybe switch back over to the steel wool. Give that another try as far as helping to get that cleaned up here. Alright, it gets down pretty smooth. I believe I am pretty happy with the overall use of detergent to clean these blades up. You know, be able to salvage your blades, get them back in working order. Go ahead and clean this now next. I think I will go back and do a little bit of steel wool on it overall with some WD-40 to make sure that none of this water here causes any rust in the future. So let me go ahead and do that. I did finish up this blade. Finished cleaning it in the water and detergent. I'm just going to take it out now, dry most of the water off here, get this blade over now so that I can work on it with some WD-40. That way make sure we're not going to get any rust started on this. So moving back to this blade, this is back to my Sears Craftsman steel 104 tooth blade. I just want to go ahead and get this guy cleaned up. So we'll do an initial dry this off, make sure it's in pretty good shape here, and then we'll switch back over and now do some WD-40. I'm still going to work on that rust area. Cleaned up fairly well. I got a lot of it off, but you can just tell there's still just a little bit there left on both sides. But now it's time to WD-40 this thing and get it cleaned up as good as possible. So I'll go ahead and get started here. Just a nice spray WD-40. I'm going to go ahead and go to the steel wool just to clean up this surface and clean up a little more of this rust here in this section. This will go ahead and just remove all that extra detergent too. Didn't actually rinse the blade when I took it out of the water, but I believe this will go ahead and take care of that for us. Applying as much pressure as I can here on this section that has that little bit of rust on it. And while we're at this, I'm going to go ahead and hit the other side here real quick. Make sure all of those teeth has a nice coating WD-40 on there. So I think we've managed to salvage this blade. I'll have to put it back in. I'm not sure how this one's actually cutting. I can't remember the last time I used this one. But I think now that it's cleaned up better than it was, I think I'll put it in the table saw and just see what kind of a cut I get out of this one, or whether it needs to be tuned up a little bit. But I think it's in a lot better shape than it was before we started. So thank you for watching.